computer. All right. Yeah, so let's talk about real quick, and you can just watch. I'm going to show you two things that you don't have to participate with to do, per se. You can just sort of watch what I'm doing. It's pretty simple. I'm on the main page of our course, and I added on the main page this announcements portlet, but it's really the blog portlet, because the announcements tool that they have, that they use with eLearning, is just, it doesn't work very well. I don't think it works very well. So I'm using blogs, and it's quite this simple. If I click on announcements, I can add a new post, or I can edit or delete an older post. And so this says announcements. This is something I added when I was building the course, just to have something to look at. But it's really simple. I'm going to add a new post. And a post is, and think about this, this is an announcement that we're announcing something to our students. So let's just say snow day. You know, we want to alert them, okay, snow day, please review week 1 content. We will have a chat session at 2 o'clock instead of class. Okay, something like that. And again, we have the text editor. So we could even, and I've done this as an announcement, instead of typing, I've used my cell phone, created a video for my student that says, hey, I'm delayed in Denver. I'm stuck in snow in Denver. There are no flights going out of Denver. And I'm videotaping myself doing this. I'm telling them in the video, and I show them the airport, people sleeping on the ground. I will not be in class tomorrow. This is what I expect of you. Wish me well. And then I post it as a video as opposed to text. So really think of the wide uses that you can use with this particular portlet. Then I can make the priority regular or high, and I would think this is a high priority. Under options, I can enable comments, but if I enable comments, then it's back to it being a blog and not an announcement portlet. I can include my name as the author, but because I'm usually the one doing the announcements, they already know that. I want to show it to, you know, all of the individuals that are in my course. But I could, if I knew who any of these other people were and I wanted to include them in the announcement, I could do that as well. And then you have the same when function. You can display it or delete it after a certain date, right? All right. Then I can preview it, but I'll just save it. And that's what it looks like in the portlet. But if I go back to the main page, oops, why it doesn't, there we go. And that's what it looks like on the main page. So Julie, does that help?
Yes, that helps.
I told her you wanted to see how the blog.
Oh, yeah. My main question is whether it notifies students when you post it. Like if it sends an email or notification, or if they just happen to see it when they log in.
You know, that's a good question. I don't think, let's see, under setup. Let's look under setup, actually. So under setup, there are other options. You can make it look different, display it as a summary or a headline only. I don't think it sends an email, and that would be such a great option. But
yeah,
no,
I might do is send the email, copy and paste the text into an announcement. But I just didn't know if there was a way that by posting it, it would automatically send it as well.
I don't believe so, but I'm going to write that down as a question, because I don't believe that it does that, but that would be a really nice upgrade for this. So that's a good question. Thanks. No, my glasses. Can you bring me my glasses? No, they're on the kitchen counter. All right, let's see. Now we want to do, the other thing I wanted to show you too really quick is, I want to talk real quickly, and we're going into the next session about importing course content. And I don't want to go into this and belabor this per se, because there are some sticky points to importing course content into eLearning. But if you, in that list of learning features, there's a course content import tool that you have to add in order to be able to use your course cartridges. What I like to do is I like to add the tool as a separate page. So if you can just sit and watch. I'm going to go to add a page, just like we did before in our first session. And I'm going to just call this cartridge import. This is just to tell me, show me that this is where this is going to occur or where I can find this. And if I scroll down to under learning features, there's this course content import tool. I actually have to import this tool, put it in my course somewhere so that I can import a course cartridge or even import test items from a test bank. Okay. Now, no one will see this. Of course, this only the faculty member will see this, because remember, I added this content to the page. I would have to go back and give students access to this page for them to see it, and they don't really need to see it. It just needs to sit here so that I can either upload a cartridge, a zip file of a course cartridge, or I could also place that course cartridge in the file cabinet of eLearning, and then pull it in from the file cabinet. Most people typically just upload it as a zip file. Now, here's the thing. This is the caveat. I will be totally honest with you. The course cartridge import has been kind of a hit or miss depending on what institution I've worked with. I've seen it work and I've seen it not work, okay? And even when I've seen it work, the import, when the content comes in, there's still so much manual labor that you have to do to get things to work on in your course. You have to probably manually put things where you need to, because it's just going to import as just this massive file dump, essentially. And then you have to then drag things to where you want them to go, move things around. It's not like some of the other slick LMSs out there that I don't know what artificial intelligence is running around in their system, but you can import content from a totally different source and it just magically knows where to put it. I don't know what artificial intelligence allows Canvas, for instance, to do that, but it imports so nicely. So I will tell you, you will have you might have challenges on uploading a cartridge to eLearning. I would say it's just trial by error. We would just get that zip file and give it a try and see what it looks like. And then typically, when you're working with textbook companies or third-party tools that have course cartridges, and you tell them, yes, I'm using the eLearning learning management system, they're going to go, I've never heard of that, or we don't support eLearning, okay? Well, if they have Blackboard cartridges, you can use a Blackboard cartridge in eLearning. That is a good thing that Jensenbar did. I don't know how they did that, but they were able to make theirs through IMS Global. They were able to make their system, and it could be an LTI thing, like I said before, with that certification that is allowing them to receive a Blackboard cartridge. And I think the Blackboard cartridges either start or end with IMS. So if you see IMS at the beginning of your cartridge name, then it probably will import just fine. So that's my spiel on course cartridge import. Any questions? Nope, silence. Okay. And I would say give it a try. And I'm available, Andy, if anyone gets stuck and needs help navigating the process, I can make myself available for that. Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to come back to our course. And I'm on the main page. So now we're going to slide into adding coursework and setting up your gradebook. And we can go into heavy duty detail with especially the gradebook. The purpose of today is to just I want you to get your bearings with coursework and with the gradebook. And then maybe in a later training, we can really dig in deep with some other bigger pieces of the gradebook. But the first thing you need to know, if you don't realize this, is that you cannot set up your gradebook unless you have added coursework. So if you look on the navigation panel on the left, you have two pages. You have a coursework page and a gradebook page.
Hey, Jen, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Can set up the gradebook without coursework, and it's a problem.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm sure
everyone is here who has done it, I've talked to, but you might want to, you can do it so you can add evaluations.
Right.
If it causes problems later.
Yes.
So anyway, people can do it if you force it or do it by accident, you might be able to do it.
But you don't want to do it that way. You really don't want to do it that way. You want to, the first thing we want to do is add coursework. So I would tell, and that was Carrie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would say you want to make sure your faculty, tell them, don't even touch the gradebook until you've added coursework. So everybody, you're going to go to the coursework page, or you can sit and watch, okay? You have to add coursework in order to be able to assign weights to your assignments and to set up your gradebook. If you don't have coursework, you're not going to have anything to set up. So the first thing I want you to do, if you're in our coursework, and let's just see, hopefully we won't glitch out our system by doing this, but I would like everyone to go to Manage Units and Types. And there are two ways to organize your coursework. You can organize your coursework according to units, or you can organize your coursework according to types. Typically, I've seen both, but a unit would be that, week 1 would be a unit, so that I'm going to create week 1 assignments, and then I'm going to create another unit called week 2 assignments, and then I'm going to create another one that's week 3 assignments, but those are units. And I'm going to have a collection of these types in each unit. So I'll have homework, paper, participation, and a test in week 1. But I might have those same types in week 2, 3, and so forth. So what we're going to do for the purposes of training, we're going to organize our coursework according to units, okay? And I want everyone to add a unit, and I want you to make your name the unit, just like we did with the pages. I want you to create a unit that is you. So your unit name is your name. A date range, this kind of goes back to what I think Nathan who asked the question about what happens if there's a snow day and I'm stuck in week 1, and does that mean I have to revise my whole course because the LMS is going to kind of run on its own into week 2 and I'm not ready to go there yet? It will only do that if you set up your units using date ranges. So if you tell this tool, I want unit 1 or week 1 to start on March the 24th and end on May the 24th and end on May 31st, then the unit, your information will still be there. The students still can access the unit. But in that course overview with that drop-down menu, if you remember, you could drop down the menu and see the different units in the course overview page. The tool will move on to the next unit in that drop-down menu based on these date ranges, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to everyone? So if you are not, married to specific date ranges, don't use them. I could never use date ranges because I'm kind of like one of those loosey-goosey professors that, I might throw something in or extend a deadline just for the, just out of the blue. I like to be flexible. I don't want to be held to the schedule. So I don't use the date range. And then again, under the description, this is you describing your unit. And again, you can use text, or if you want to videotape yourself describing the unit, you can do that as well. Now we're going to add the unit. And we should see all of our units appearing here. And as we refresh, we will see additional units showing up. And I could see that Julia is a date person. She likes to she's going to be on her game. She's not going to waver from the calendar. And if you can do that, then absolutely use your date ranges. You can also reorder your units if you want to, and then you can also go in and just edit the date ranges of all of your units as well. Okay, so that's units. And then under types, these are the types, these are the default types that Jinzabar has given you in terms of these are your typical assignments. But if you have something that is atypical that's not here, that it's your pet project, you can add that to the list so that it shows up when you're creating your assignments. So I'm going to click add a type, and I'm going to type pet project. And if there's a type that you would like to add, you can add it. Like for instance, I see that some people will add, yeah, we have video assignment, website. If you are not a lab, if you don't have exams in your class, or if you do not have specific readings in your class, you can delete those. But I've seen people add reflection, community service. I mean, you can add types however you know, whatever your types are. And then you can also reorder the types in this box, okay? So we did that because the first thing we need to do is establish our units and our types. Now we can actually create assignments. So now we want to go back, we can go to coursework over in the navigation panel or up at the top, back to the main screen. And now we are ready to add an assignment. And notice, before I even do that, look at this. So the system has already created our units for you in here. So now, guess what? You're going to, when we add an assignment, I want you to go to your unit in this list to add the assignment under your unit, okay? You'll also be able to use a drop-down menu to move assignments to different units, and I'll show you how to do that as well. I was going to say something also, but I will keep going. It'll come to me in a minute. So I'm in my Jinby King unit, and I want to add an assignment. So I want to select add an assignment, and I have 4 assignment types: the online test, file upload, forum, and the basic assignment. And we're going to start with the basic because it is the basic assignment. The basic assignment is it's the assignment that you put in coursework, you place in your coursework page because you just need a place to put a grade. Students are not going to upload anything into the LMS for you to grade. You're not going to use, it's not an online assignment, an online test question. It's just that they're coming to you in class, they have a paper that they literally have a physical paper, they're handing it to you, you're going to grade it, and you need a place to put the grade in the LMS Gradebook, okay? So that's what the basic assignment is for. So let's go through and let's create this basic assignment, because once we've done the basic assignment, all the other assignments will be very similar. It's just that the format changes. So I'm going to just call this my basic assignment. You can see I'm in my unit, but if I had multiple units, if I wanted to put it in Kimbo's unit, I could put it in Kimbo's unit. Here's under type, this is where it was important for me to put my types, you know, my pet types, my special types, things that were unique to my course, so that I could find it right here in the drop-down menu. The next drop-down is audience. So I can have the entire class do this assignment, or I can select the students in the class whom I want this assignment to go to. This is a very cool tool. I love this because I remember dealing with athletes, and you know, it's not their fault. They miss things, and we have to modify assignments to make sure that they can still accomplish their goals and be a successful athlete at our institution. So I can just select the athletes that this special assignment is going to, and nobody else will see the assignment. On the due date, I want to select a due date. So I can select a date, or I can say just make sure that it's due before the end of the course. And the system, because of the term that I've placed this course in, it's in a term called Infinity. our students in this course get to, they have until 2025 at midnight to complete this assignment. And that is due to, like I said, the term. So it'll make more sense. Your term obviously will be, make a lot more sense. It'll be the last day of your semester, for instance. I'm going to select a day for this to be due, and I'll use the calendar to select the day, and I can even select the time. Notice that the time is defaulting to 11:55. In the old days with this LMS, it used to default to midnight, but our dear millennial students did not understand what midnight meant. They didn't know that midnight was the morning. They couldn't determine if midnight was morning or evening. So students were never, we had institutions where students were just confused. They couldn't figure out when the thing was due. So we have it defaulting to 11:55 p.m. But you can change that to the time of your course. Those were the good old days. Okay, I can hide this assignment in my calendar, or I'm going to place this assignment in my calendar, and it'll show up in the calendar. I like it to show up in the calendar. And then when do I want this assignment to be open? Do I want it to be ready immediately? I'll open it later, but at an unspecified date, but that means I have to remember to go back to the LMS to specify or to have it open. Or I can set some rules. And if I click based on rules, I define, if you are into and/or statements, if-then statements, you will love the rules option here. I do not work according to those kinds of rules in my life, so that's just way too complicated for me, but you can set up the rules for an assignment to be open. I'm just going to have it to be open now, and I can have it be displayed. Well, because it's open now, it's obviously automatically displaying to students because it's open now. Now, here's what I like. You can have it graded. You can grade it with a rubric. You can have it to be a credit or no credit assignment, or just a not graded assignment. You just want the student to turn something in. Let's select graded with a rubric so that we can talk about the rubric. And before we jump into the rubric, we can include this in the final grade, not included in the final grade, or set it up as an extra credit assignment. Okay. So because this is a basic assignment, I can actually build the rubric that I want to use to assess this assignment. I can build it right here in the LMS. So you have to imagine the student, it's a homework assignment. The students are writing it on paper. They're going to bring it to my class. I'm going to go to the LMS to grade it using this rubric and let the rubric tell my gradebook what the student received as a grade. So I will just call this, there we go. This is my basic assignment rubric. That's the name of the rubric. And the criterion, so what do you want in that first column of your rubric? So maybe content would be a criterion, and I can create a description for it and save. And I could add another criterion. Let's say grammar is important to me. I could add that as a criterion. And then, of course, I do need to add description so that students will know what I mean, what I'm absolutely looking for, right? So I can save those criterion, and then it automatically defaults to a 5-level tool. If I don't want a 5-level tool, I can delete one of those levels. So if I'm not a 5-level person, I'm going to go to 4. So it's 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'm an assessment person. That is like one of my things that I do. I'm an assessment accreditation person. As a plug, if McPherson needs any assessment and accreditation help, that is another thing that I also do. But as an assessment person, I believe that rubrics should go from low to high, not high to low. And there's no way to fix that. This is the way this rubric is set up. So it's just best practices to go from low to high. Anyways, that's my pet peeve. Now, if I click on any of those points, I can rename it. So if I am exceptional is my level 4, I can rename it. And if level 3 is my target, my goal is that everyone at least gets to level 3, that's target, I can do that. And then the description, the descriptor language, we can click in the box and add our language for each level, and so forth. Okay? Any questions about the rubric? So we can move our criterion around. If we want to move it around in the rubric, we can add score levels or performance levels with a plus sign, and we can add criterion with the add a criterion link. Now, show grade. If I click on the drop-down box, this is very, very important. When do I want my students to see their grade for this assignment? As soon as the grade is available, that's the option I prefer. But I can also say as soon as the grade is available and a specified date has passed, and then I'm going to have to give it a date. I need to tell the tool what date is that date. Many faculty member they will pick this last option because they don't understand what these drop-down menu options really mean. And they'll pick as soon as the grade is available and the due date has passed. So if my due date, if you scroll up here and you look at the due date is May 31st, okay, that's the due date for this assignment. If I select this last option, they will not see their grade until the due date has passed. So they will not see this grade until June the 1st. Okay, and you need to explain that to your students that even though your friends may have already received their grade, maybe your due date hasn't passed yet for your assignment or for your course section. The due date has not passed. I'm going to make it as soon as the grade is available. I like to show the class average to students, let them see how their friends are doing. And then under basic assignment options, I'm not going to go into this too much, but if you use learning tools, and you do have learning tools, you are using learning tools at McPherson, this is how you would assign a learning tool to your course. And this would be what I'd call advanced training, but this is how you would do it. And I could walk you down, if you need help with that, I'll be happy to share that with you at another training session. And you can also add a required reading to this assignment in this area. And then step 3 would be instructions and files. So you can add a description for this assignment and additional instructions. And again, check it out. You can use text, or if you want to record a video to tell your students what you expect of them, you can do that as well. We can add an additional file. So we created a rubric in the LMS. We can add the actual rubric to the assignment, the paper version of the rubric that they can print and print, from their computer. They can actually print that file if we add it here as an additional document. And then now we're going to save that assignment. Okay. So that's my basic assignment. All right. Now I'm going to go back and add another assignment. This time I want everybody to add an assignment with me. So I will go to in my unit, I'm going to go to add an assignment. This time we're going to pick the file upload format. This is my favorite format because if you give me something, I will either lose it or spill coffee on it. Okay. So I would prefer my students uploading their work to me in the LMS so that then I can grade it, and I always have an original copy in the LMS, and I can grade it anytime, anywhere. If I'm an insomniac, I can get up at 2 in the morning and grade assignments. So I'm going to call this my file upload assignment. You can call yours whatever you want. And everything that we've gone through in step 1 of the basic assignment is going to be true for the file upload assignment, with a couple of exceptions. So I'm just going to hop down here, I want to give it a due date, because it will not allow you to save the assignment if it doesn't have a due date. And here's the difference with the file upload: accept late submissions until. So if you, and I was this way, if I would allow my students to submit work late, Okay, I tell them you have a week. So the assignment is due May 31st. I'm going to give them a full week to do the work, June 7th. However, I'm going to penalize your late assignment by 5 points each day it's late. So please, I want you to do the work because it's about learning. It's about doing the assignment so that you can learn the content that I'm trying to teach you. I'm not going to punish you unless you do not get it in until, if you don't get it in until June the 7th, that's when the punishment really sticks and you get a 0. So that's the only difference with the file upload. Everything else should be the same. You can even use a rubric here, but I'm just going to keep it graded and give it out of 100 points and make it available immediately. Then step 2, step 2 is different for the file upload assignment. You can set a minimum number of files required for the assignment or a maximum number of files. So if you want to make sure that if you want a one-page document, just one page, and that's part of your criteria for the assignment, then you can set that limit so that they're not uploading 10 pages to you. You can also assign a grade of 0. Now look at this, everybody. This is super duper duper important. I don't know why this is, but notice this checkbox is checked by default. Automatically assign a grade of 0 to students who do not submit files before the due date passes. So you want to deselect that. If you do not want your students to get a grade of 0, then you need to deselect it. Why they have that as a default is it's trying to make your life easier. Hey, if the kid doesn't do the work, if they don't submit their work, let the system go ahead and give them a 0 so that you don't have to worry about going into the gradebook to assign the 0. Let the system do it for you based on the due date. However, yes.
Rod, if you set up a penalty for each day late, if you have that selected where it automatically assigns a 0 if they don't hit the due date, but then they turn it in a week later, is that 0 replaced with the penalized grade?
Well, the system is now looking at the due date as June the 7th. It's going to let the penalty of 5 points per day play out, but now the system sees the new due date as June 7th, not May 31st. And yes, on June the 7th, if nothing is turned in, they would receive a 0. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay, I know. But here's the thing. I mean, I get more faculty emails and frantic phone calls for this because the faculty member just skipped over this. They're getting emails or phone calls from their students that says, I got a 0 on the assignment and you told me I could turn it in late, and then the professor calls me and they're like, well, how come my students are getting 0s on everything? Well, it's because this is checked. So if you are flexible with your students, you give a lot of grace because that's, God gives us grace, so we extend it to our students, then deselect this. Okay. Instructions and files are the same for step 3, and then you can add a file and then you can save your new assignment.
Hey, Jen.
Yes.
This is Julia. Is there any way to do like a group assignment where you assign like all students in one group?
Yes.
Same grade at once, or?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. So you want to give the group a grade, not each member in the group a grade.
Well, each member of the group would get a grade, but only one person from each group needed to submit it. And so in Canvas, it shows you can group them. And if one person in your group uploads it, then it shows on your end as well that it was uploaded. But I didn't know if there's any way within this. Yeah.
No, but there's ways to finagle the tool to kind of accomplish what you're saying. So for instance, I'm going to show you real quick one way. If I go, here's my assignment, basic assignment number, or I guess my basic assignment. I'm going to come over here to the edit tool, in the right-hand corner and then edit this assignment. One way you can achieve that would be that you can select this assignment for a set of students. But
Okay.
you would have to create, so if you had 3 groups, you would create 3 assignments. You would say group A assignment, and then you would select the group, those group people, the students in the group. Group B assignment would be the next name, and then select those students. That's the only catch in doing it this way. But it works, and in that example, you can give each student a grade in the group. So instead of getting a group grade, each student owns the group grade, and it is coming through the gradebook. The other way I've done that is through a forum assignment, which perfect timing because that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to the main screen, and I want you to go to your unit and add an assignment. Now, you'll see that we have a forum format, okay? You cannot, here's the deal, you can create a forum assignment, but you need to create the forum first in your course in order to make it a graded forum as an assignment, okay? So do not select forum format. I just wanted to show you, we're gonna come back to that. Let's just go back here to this link at the bottom, go back to the main screen, and go to your page over on the left, because we added a forum assignment, or I'm sorry, we added a forum to our respective pages. Scroll down and find that forum, and I've got lots of handouts, and we'll see if this works, Carrie. I hope it works, but we'll see, with everybody trying to do it at the same time. So under forums, we would click Forum Home, and we need to actually create a forum. So when you create a forum, if you're familiar with, if you've been using forums up till forever in Bulldog Connect, the forum portlet has not changed. It's the exact same as it was before. It just, the colors are different and the tools look a little different, but it's the exact same tool. We're going to go up here to edit the forum. So eLearning gives you a default topic, which is an open discussion. That's just your default forum discussion. The category that they've given you is general, but the topic is open discussion. So we can go in and edit this and give it another name, okay? What I'm going to do is, instead, I'm going to leave that default there. I'm going to add a category, and I'm going to call this group work, group project. I can give it a description. I can add a video if I wanted to. Now I want to, for the topic, I want to arrange the topics. I can arrange them manually, or I can go newest to oldest. That's the one I like to use. How do I want to prune my discussions? Maybe I don't want to prune them, meaning I don't want to remove any of my discussions. I want them to stay. But if I might want to just remove my discussions. If I use forums a lot, I can set it to remove older discussions according to these parameters here. And then it's automatically giving me, it's giving access to all the users and any guests that are in my course, but I can also restrict access to just myself or a group, okay? So one way I could create a group in my course is I can give restricted access to specific students in my group, so that group, only that group can see this category, which is where they're going to put their group work or complete their group project, and then save this category. Okay, so here's my group project. Now under topics, I want to add a topic. All right, so in the traditional sense of a forum, because I want to address, I think it was Julia, right? I want to address this notion of groups without making this too complicated. But in the traditional sense of a forum, a topic might be a movie prompt. So I want my students to watch a movie, discuss education as viewed in the movie, et cetera, right? So I want them to watch a movie about education or some educational setting, a movie that takes place in a school environment, and I want them to discuss what we talked about in our class relative to education. And I'm just truncating the directions. Of course, I would tell my students a lot more than that. I could also give them a video description if I wanted to. I can have a start and end date for the discussion. I want them to be able to post and reply, but I can also set it up where I just want them to post or only reply. I like post and reply. Again, the access doesn't change. Restrictions, I like this. This is a new, they did this in the old forum too, but it's really a valuable thing because I can make it so that my students have to post their discussion before they can view the discussions of their classmates. Because students will read everybody else's posts and then they come up with their answers after reading the really smart kids' posts, right? I can make it private to just people that I want to make it private to, and I can also not allow any changes to be in the post. I'm going to make it no restrictions. I'm not going to use moderation. That's allowing an outside person to come in and moderate. And then I'm going to save the topic. So in the very traditional sense, this movie prompt, we would say, I want my students to watch the movie and discuss the movie, okay? If I were to go back to forum, I would see the forum right here on the page. And the student would see the same thing. They would click on the prompt. They would add a post right here. And because I've added my picture as a photo in the eLearning tool. If you're the professor at McPherson, your picture will show up, but because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, your students are not allowed to upload their own photo, you won't see the faces of your students. That's why I think that adding photos is good, because it's nice to see the photos of your students, but
And we don't allow the students to upload their own photo, but we do upload their photo.
Okay, great. So like their student ID photo.
Yeah, correct.
Perfect. That's good. That's really good. Yeah, and that's beneficial because it creates community if you can see the people that you're talking to. Now, I'm going to add the the forum discussion. This is my post. So I'm in the subject line. You have to have a subject line if you're going to submit a post. And I'm going to add my content, okay? I can add a file also. I'm asking it to show my photo. I can also go up here and add a video. So I could even come back here, grab this embed code as a student replying to this post, and I can actually record. Instead of typing something, I'm going to actually use my phone, and instead of a typed discussion, I'm giving you a video discussion. So I'm telling you in 2 minutes or less what I thought about the movie. Now I'm going to submit, and there you go. Now the other students would also come into the forum and they would reply to the forum. Okay, they would reply to my post, and the steps are the same. They would come in to reply, they would post their information, they can add files, and then submit. Okay, so that's the traditional view of a forum. I'm going to take it one step further and say that if I go back to forums, the traditional forum is, respond to a respond to a discussion prompt. But I have a category here called group. So I could also use the forum section as a way to get my students to work in groups. And I would do that by coming up here to edit forum. And under the category of group project, I'm going to add a topic. My topic is not going to be a discussion prompt, though. It's going to be groups. So group A, if I can type group A, and then save that topic, and add another group. And so why am I doing this? Well, before the days of Google Drive and Microsoft OneDrive, this was the way I would get my students to share documents and group documents, like a group PowerPoint, group Excel files. I would place them in groups inside forum so that they could come to the group and work on a group project without having to email items to each other, which clogs up the email, and then you have to scroll and try to find what people sent. If you're in group B, you would actually go to your group B, you would add a post, and you could say, my PowerPoint slide, and I can actually go find that PowerPoint slide. And let's say we're working on a group PowerPoint. I'm going to upload my slide or my video or whatever, and now the folks that are in my group can come in and grab that. By replying, they can go in and grab that PowerPoint. Now what we're going to do is make the forums that we've created, the topics that we've created, we're going to make these topics a graded forum. So hopefully this will answer the question of how do you then grade the group assignment. So I showed you how you can group students in an assignment by selecting certain students and then giving each group a separate assignment in coursework, right? That's one way. The other way would be what I'm showing you here, is using the forums, which gives them actually a space to store their stuff, to share things, and to post and reply to each other within the LMS. Okay, so is everybody tracking with me so far?
Yes.
Everybody's nodding, right? Their heads are nodding. Okay, great. So I'm going to come back to coursework. And now I'm going to add the graded forum. Oops, scroll out. So here under my unit, I'm going to come over here and add an assignment. And this time it's going to be the forum format. And I'm going to call this group project because that was the name of the category. And then everything that we've done up to this point is going to be the same, except when do you want your posts, when you want your students to post? What's the due date for posting? So you need to give them a due date. You have until next week to post. But the assignment itself can be due on a different date. So you're giving them a week to post, but I'm going to give them an extra week to complete the rest of the assignment. Like they have another week to reply to the people in their group or to do whatever you're asking them to do. We need to open it now, and we want it graded out of 100 points. And everything else should look the same, except that when you get to the bottom of this graded forum assignment on step 1, you've got all of these assignments or you have all of these forums because you all went in and you did a great job. Each of you went into forums, you created a forum discussion in our course, and these are the different discussions, right? So I just have to go in and find mine. Mine is at the very bottom. So you see, if I hadn't created the forum first, it would not be it wouldn't appear in the drop-down menu for category, if that makes sense. So you have to create the forum first in order to make it a graded forum, and then the forum topic is group. I have to assign which topic am I grading, and here again, just like with creating an assignment and selecting students that are in a group to get that assignment, you would have to make an assignment for each group or each group of selected students, you're doing the same thing here. You would be creating a graded forum assignment for each group. The only difference is that well, actually, I take that back. Each student in the group then would only select their assignment, and they would complete that forum discussion as a graded forum, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping everybody's tracking with me, right? So this is a way to, this is just a way to finagle the system. You know, forum, we can go old school forum, give them a prompt, let them discuss. But we can use the forum in very different, robust ways that we hadn't even thought about. And grouping your students in forum discussions is as a way to accomplish that. Under step 2 for the graded forum assignment, these are all obviously different because it's specific to the forum assignment. Do you want to allow your students to post or reply until the assignment opens? You don't want them to, so you want the assignment to open before they can post or reply. Do you want them to be able to do it after the due date? Do you want them to be able to edit their posts after they've made their initial post? Do you want to require students to make a post? You want them to post before they can see the posts of other students? So those are those options. Then specific requirements, you can say, I want at least one initial post to group topic B, so I want at least one. And I don't want the post to be shorter than 100 words, or I'm even going to be more generous, 25 words. And then my replies, I want you to reply to at least 3 people in your group, and I want your replies to be at least 100 words. Okay. Instructions and files are the same. You can add a file at the bottom, and then we can save the assignment. And there we go. So I have a basic assignment, a file upload, and a graded forum assignment. Is everybody good with forums? Yeah. Okay. So then let's just quickly move on to the online assignment, the online test format. I went to my unit, selected add an assignment, and then I will select the online test format. And I'm going to name this my online test. Now, what I want you to note here is that you're creating the assignment here called online test. You're not yet creating the test, and that's often very confusing to people. Here you're creating the assignment, then it's going to prompt you to create the test. So again, everything that we've talked about already pertains here. I'm going to go through quickly and add the due date. Bless you, open it now, make it graded as soon as it's available. I'm not going to go through all of these options because it's laborious, but there are lots of things that you can do with your online test in terms of, you know, how long do you want your students to be able to review the test after they take it? Do you want the tool to automatically assign a grade of 0? Again, assign a grade of 0 automatically if they don't take the test by the due date. Do you want a time limit? Do you want to see 1 question per page or 1 section per page? You want to shuffle your questions. Now, where I am going to spend some time, I'm going to spend a little bit of time here on locking out. This really means locking out. So lock students out if they leave the test screen. So if you want to prevent them from going to Google on the computer, you can lock them out. And it really means locking them out. But understand they have a phone. They can also Google it on their phone too and not have ever left the computer screen. So, you know, when you lock students out, they will invariably tell you, something happened to my computer, it just crashed, I don't know what happened. And you want to tell them, well, you probably left the screen. No, I didn't, but you really did. But, you know, how do you know? So make sure if you want it locked, just know what the ramifications are going to be. You can make the online test extra credit. You can add a security password. Here's another way to lock the students. You can make the students use the lockdown browser to take the test. And in this function, this is another tool, a third-party tool that Jinzabar is using called Respondus. It actually downloads on the student's computer. So you have to tell your students, you're going to be prompted to download Respondus to your computer. Hit yes when you get that prompt. And then when they're taking their test, yep.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
This isn't so pertinent for brothers in the room with me. We tried doing that. That's where I used that function you're talking about right now just a couple weeks ago, and it was a mess.
Yes.
Prompted students to download something. It made them leave their screen, and they
yes.
all got locked out of spam. And so that was a problem. So I'm just sharing with folks here. I wouldn't recommend using that, especially not in this particular computer lab, because we don't have administrative privileges to download something. And so it was an issue.
Thank you.
I find that was a mess.
It is a mess.
And I went,
yeah.
No, there you go. There's my experience.
That, and I totally agree, because in some cases, when they leave the screen, the computer shuts down, like it turns off, and then the student is really freaking out because the actual computer just shut down on them, on top of just kicking them out. The only time I would use the lockout option or the Respondus option is in licensure situations, like nursing students or education students. You want to give them a practice certification test, and you want it to feel as real as the test that they're going to take for licensure, but you're going to use this, you're going to make them take the test in a lab with a proctor and an IT person that can help navigate if something happens. That's the only reason I would use the lockdown browser. Okay. Moving on, you can set up retakes. You can let the students see the progress that they're making in their tests when they're taking it. All of that is great. And I'm going to move on to step 3, because step 3 is the same as with other assignment types. You can add a file, and then you will save your assignment. Now, when you save your assignment, you have now created the assignment in coursework. Now you are prompted to actually build your test. Okay, this is called the test builder for that reason. So now you can add a question. So I click add a question, and I can give the question a label. This is going to help me find, reference the question in the test builder. If I end up with like 1,000 questions, I can label it so that I can find it later. But here's where I would add the test question. How do you pronounce McPherson? Okay. And I can add point values. I can add an equation. I can add a video. I can add whatever I want. But I want to definitely add a point value, because if you don't add a point value to your test questions, there's no way the gradebook can, or the LMS can grade it, give the students points for the test, and put that grade, that final grade, in the gradebook. So you have to have point values on your test questions. Now the next step is you can make the question extra credit if you want to, but now you want to design your answers, and you have these options: equation, essay, matching, multiple choice, ordering short answer, or true false. If you pick essay, you will have to grade the online test offline, and then put the grade in the gradebook. So there's no way to get the tool to grade your essay. But if you have short answer, you can tell the tool, I want to give the full award or partial award if I want to. But it has to be an identical match, or it should include. Okay, you can set it up to parse out what you're looking for. So you would not hurt anyone if they accidentally put an A in McPherson. You're accepting that as an answer, right? To include it. All other responses should receive 0 points, or it should just be scored manually. Okay. Then you need to get automatic feedback. You can set up your test question to give the student automatic feedback for incorrect, correct responses, or just general feedback, and then you can save and return to the test builder. So now my question shows up just with the label, but I can now add more questions. But right now, this test, because it only has one question, is worth 5 points. So I obviously, if I'm on 100 points, I need to add more questions to my test. Okay, any questions about this? Now, when I go back to, yeah, go ahead.
Jen, can you add images?
Can you add? You can. Yes, you can. Let me go to coursework. Oops. Okay, let's see. The online test. Oh, I want to edit. I'm going to edit this assignment. Actually, I wanted to go back. Hold on for a second. So that's actually what I wanted to show you. If I go back and I need to add questions or edit the actual test, if I go to the edit tool, I'm editing the assignment. If I click on the link for the assignment, I can come to the assignment and click the link to go to the test builder. Okay. And that's where you would edit your test. And I'm going to click on this. And if I edit this question, I'm going to edit, click the edit tool. Nope, I'm editing the section. Sorry, that's the section, which I should talk about, but let's see. I want to, oh, I got to go to the question, which is the training label. And yes, I could add the picture here. If I wanted to add a picture, I could also add a video. Okay. And I could add an equation. All right. Okay, so I'm going to save and return to the test builder. Any questions about the online test? I'm not going to go, I'm just going to create one question for now for the sake of time, but are there any other questions or issues that you might have with the online test feature? So we're good. Okay, so now you see, now that I have assignments in my course, on my coursework page, now I can actually set up the gradebook. I actually have a way to set up the gradebook. Without assignments, there's no way to set up my gradebook. So I have assignments, Kirk has them, Matt, and notice, I want to draw the attention, Matt has a file upload assignment. Notice that the name of his assignment is in italics, and that's because it's not open or visible to students yet. Okay, so if he were to edit this, and maybe he did this intentionally, but this is a common question I get. Students are, I'll get an email that the students cannot see the assignment that I created, and that's because if we were to edit this assignment for him, right now it's opening at a later date. This might mean that he wants to open it at his, on his time frame at some point in the future, and he's going to come back and do that. But if he needs his students to see it immediately, he should change it to immediately. I'm going to keep it unspecified and then save the assignment. Okay. All right. And let me just go through. All right. So the folks that have assignments, you can actually set up your gradebook. And actually, for this purposes, because we're all sharing the same gradebook, you might want to just sit and watch, because for all of us to be clicking in the gradebook will be madness. I'm pretty convinced it could be madness. So let's just sit and watch for a moment. We're going to come up here to Gradebook. Now I can get to the Gradebook by going to the navigation panel here on the left, or I can go to view the Gradebook here on my assignment page. So if I click view the Gradebook, this is the Gradebook. This is currently all the students that are in my course. These are students that I withdrew from the course, obviously. And then these are the tools that I can use to set up my Gradebook. Okay. Now, if I want to see the full Gradebook, so this is just showing me my students and the current grade that they have in the class. But if I want to see all the assignments, I want to click View the Full Gradebook so that I can see every assignment. And you'll see these are all of the assignments that I created, plus some of the assignments that you created under your unit. So this is the full Gradebook. Now your students have the exact same tool at their disposal. It's just only going to show their grades. It's not going to have everyone in the class and their grades. It's just going to say Becky Bowman and then how Becky's doing on all of these assignments, or how she has performed in all these assignments. Okay. So if you look at these tools, I just want to draw your attention to these tools at the top of the page for the Gradebook, because these are the same tools that you're going to see if I were to go to the Home tab, to the main screen, or go back to the Gradebook using the link on the left. Those are the tools that we use to set up our Gradebook. And you'll see some of those tools are here. Let me draw your attention to this as well. Do you want your final grade to include attendance? And thank you, thank you, thank you. They made this a separate window. It used to be buried in evaluations, where you would turn attendance on or off in your Gradebook, and nobody could find it. And why would you put it in evaluations? Because it makes no sense to be there. So if you want to turn off attendance, you don't want the attendance to account as part of your grade, you can click yes or no based on whatever you want. Okay. Oop, and I've been redirected. Maybe because a lot of us, maybe several of us were clicking on it at one time. It's very possible. So let me go back to our course. Okay. And now I want to go back to the Gradebook. Now to set up our Gradebook, we want to go to Final Grade Weighting right here, this link, and it's the icon that's the little pie illustration. When I click on that link, it has automatically defaulted to setting up my Gradebook as points, if you notice this table. So these are all of the assignments in my class. Some are mine, some are yours. These are the points we've assigned those assignments, right? Notice for my online test, I only have one question, that's why it's only 5 points. So just make note of that if you need more points for your test, this is an indication that you would have to do that. But notice, even though this is automatically set up as points, it's going to weight, that the tool is going to weight those points based on 100%. And that's because the LMS, even though you might have, Julia is a 500-point person. Her class is worth 500 points. But Bruce's class, he's a 1,000-point person. You can have a totally different point systems, and how the system rectifies that is it still weights everything based on 100%. Okay, so points are easy. This is the easiest way to weight your class, and like I said, the system will automatically default to this. Underneath this table, you can drop low grades if you so choose. You can select how many of the lowest grades you want to drop. And then I want to draw your attention to this yellow. You've got a yellow bar here because this has no point value. So the system is saying, if you see the yellow line in the table, it's saying, look, you have something that's not weighted, or that cannot be weighted. So it's just alerting you to that. So you would have to go back to the assignment to edit the assignment to add a point value to that online test. Now I want to change my weighting method. Let's up here in the upper right-hand corner, we can change the weighting method by clicking that link, and we can see the other ways that we can weight our course. So the point method, it's based on points. That's the easiest one. The unit method means that it's going to weight based on our units. So let's just assume, and we all created a unit that we called our name. Let's say we have 10 units because we had 10 individuals in the training. That means you can assign a weight to each unit of your course, okay? And you can also weight the assignment types separately within that unit, which I'll show you how to do. Then there's the type method. So you have units and you have types. So units are how we organize the course. That's how we should probably weight our course. But remember when we added types to our assignments, we added our, like for instance, our special assignment types, which were pet project, reflection, chemistry lab, community service. We added those types to that drop-down menu. That's what this is referring to. That you can, if you don't want to organize by unit, you can organize by type. So that all my reflections are 10% of the grade, all of my tests are 20%, all of my papers are 30%, and the pet project is 40% of the grade, okay? And then there's the manual method. Manual is just that you want a gradebook. You are just needing something at the end of the semester to take what you have on paper or in Excel and put it in the LMS gradebook so that you can easily submit your grades through the LMS. So that's manual. It means the only reason I'm even using the LMS is just to have a gradebook to enter things into when it's time to submit my grades. Then the last method is custom method. Custom it's a combination of all of these things. It's a combination of point, unit, and type. And it can get very complicated. Oops. So I usually tell people most likely you are not a custom person. You are probably a point, a unit, or a type person typically. But you're very rarely custom. Custom is you seriously need a variety of ways to weight your pieces and components of your course. And the only people I've ever seen need the custom method are nursing faculty. I don't know why nursing programs are so complicated, but that's the only group of faculty members that I've ever seen that really need a variety of ways to assess and evaluate students. So if you think you're complicated, you probably aren't. You probably are just a point, unit, or type person. So let's go to the unit method because we organized our course by unit. If I select on unit method, and I go, now I've selected unit method, now I want to go back to my grade weighting screen. It's showing me the units in my course, and it's automatically weighting my units equally. So remember, we created units according to our names, and incidentally, I want to make an observation that these units in our gradebook match our coursework page, so students can easily find what's in our coursework page mirrors what's in the gradebook and check it out. What is in the coursework and what's in the gradebook should mirror what's in our navigation panel, okay? So that's going to help students kind of know how to get to things. If they're in week 1, then they're going to go to the coursework page and select their week 1 assignments. And if they want to find out how they're doing in week 1, they're going to click the gradebook and look at week 1 in the gradebook. So that's how you can really streamline your course, okay? Now, let's see. Right now, these units are weighted equally. If I click on any of these units, so I'm clicking on my unit, unable to find a group weight for the past ID. That was unexpected. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that. For the past ID. Let me try that again. And if you are working with me Oh, okay, we do. So we need weights for exam, homework, test, and website. That's if we're organizing by type. But let me go back to grade weighting. And okay, so it's switched, and I think it's switching back and forth because you all are clicking in the course, switching back and forth, which is totally fine. That's the way I want it to work. So here we're seeing our course, the breakdown according to type. So you'll notice that we can change the weight. It's weighting. We can have it weighted equally, or we can go in and change the weights. And to change the weights, to get from it being weighted equally to being able to get these cells to open up to be able to edit those weights, is you typically click on the assignment and you can make the exception. I don't know why they do it this way, but that's how they do it. So you can make an exception by clicking here, and we can have them weighted. I can have them weighted manually, meaning I'm going to go in, or by point value, have it automatically go by point value. If I go by manual weights, I can now look at these are now my types of assignments. I can go in and now weight those types. Okay. So it's a lot. It's not as complicated as it used to be. The gradebook and the coursework functionality 2 versions ago was horrible, and this is a huge improvement. So I don't want to go into extensive detail about weighting and that type of thing, because that's I can do a whole training session on just setting up the gradebook and ways to tweak and work points and percentages and that type of thing, and we just don't have the time today to do that. The big thing I want you to note, though, is that if you go back to the tool, the grade weighting tool, you can go to the upper right hand corner to change your weighting method, and the secret sauce to your gradebook is understanding your point method, your unit method, or your type, however you envision weighting your course. It's understanding this particular screen right here. What type of course are you developing? Is it points, units, or types, or manual? And then making sure that each assignment that you created in coursework, as I click over, you have to make sure that you have point values associated with your assignments. And those are the 2 big things that you really just need to take away from today. Any questions?
We've lost a few of our folks, Jen, but I just wanted to say that when we did a couple of focus groups with students in the spring, this is what they want more than anything else. Mm-hmm. They want to be able to follow their academic performance in your class on the gradebook. And so I'm really going to be urging you. I'm never going to require faculty to use the gradebook, but one of the things you said, Jen, about manually keeping the gradebook, that the only reason to do that was if you wanted to turn in your grades. Well, there's an alternate way to turn in grades, but if you keep your grades manually in the gradebook, you go ahead and you have to go through the trouble of setting up the assignments, yes, but you can still go in and enter those grades, and students can follow along as the semester progresses. And that's what they're telling us they really want. Mm-hmm.
I agree. I know I've already said it at the first session. You have students. You haven't even seen the worst of it yet, Bruce, where you will see that you're going to have students like my own son who picked a college, who, when we visited colleges, he asked every program that we visited, how many of your professors are using the learning management system? And for the small private schools they're great schools, and I was happy to have them go to a small private, even the small, just a small private school was a great option. But when he found out that no one was using the learning management system, he crossed it off his list. You know, I don't, and he's savvy, and your students are savvy in this because they're using a learning management system as we speak in high school. It's already happening for them in high school. And then for my son, who did a dual enrollment with a community college, so he had 2 learning management systems that he was working in. He was using Blackboard for his high school work, and he was using Canvas for his community college work. So he was working in 2 different LMS worlds where people were on their game, that faculty were using these tools. And to take that away from him because he's going to college is not fair to that student, you know? And students are going to pick you based on how robust your technology is at campus, and to the extent that they can get to their assignments. Those are critical issues for the students that are on their way. And you're going to have yeah, go ahead.
Mary,
Yep.
were you planning on returning to course attendance at all, or are you finishing up with Gradebook now?
I am finishing up with Gradebook. You want me to go to attendance to include or not?
I would like, we have, for various reasons, we have a lot of pressure to take attendance and to keep track of attendance.
Yes.
So one of the things that's come up is professors are very particular about how they want to handle attendance. So one of the things, if you could go in to the attendance, on the navigation page, the pane.
Yes.
Okay, so I think it's actually going to be on the Gradebook. I'm sorry, the attendance area on Gradebook where you had like the edit, the little pencil.
Yes. So let me go to. Are you wanting me to get to where you can include or not include attendance? Is that what you're talking about? Okay. Let's see. I am blanking out here. Where is it? Let me go to.
It should be on waiting. I think you were in the right spot.
Was I in the right spot? Well, waiting, right? Oh, but I can get to it here. If I go back to the home page, I think. No.
It might also be in evaluations.
It used to be in evaluations. Yeah, here we go.
Okay, so go to pencil options. Okay, so if you go up and you go into the preferences.
Yes.
Okay, should be here. I'm trying to remember where it was. So if you go in there, let's see, maybe it's in settings. So one of the things that professors want to do is they don't want to grade the attendance so much, but they want to drop dead. You missed 20% of the class, so you're failing now. And they want to send out settings like these. They want to send out warning emails. In attendance, there is a section, and I thought it was preferences, but you can, in the Gensbar training, little training video has it. But it's behind, like 2 clicks behind the attendance, but it allows, you can say, I want to send a warning email after 4 absences and fail after 5 or 10 absences. Now here's the trick. You have to have attendance being graded.
Right.
In order to do this. Well, so anyway, the solution that Brad came up with is it goes to 2 decimal points, so you turn it on like 0.01, that turns the attendance counter on.
Right.
And then like participation then becomes 14.99 minus 15. So that turns it on, so now it's tracking their attendance, because we have to put it we have to keep it anyway, and we have to put it in through the system.
Right.
So, but anyway, so that way you can turn on you've missed 9, and it's 3, you meet 3 times a week, you've missed 9, that's 20%, so you can fail them on the 9th absence, but you could send in a warning on the 7th. And I will find out where that is, but I can also send out the video. You can see the automatic course failure.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah.
Right, but there is the send the warning email is on another page, because this is the most user friendly.
I know exactly
I'll
what
find
you're talking about. I just can't remember where it is. And I'm trying to think where it would be. And I'm sure it still exists, even though this is an updated version.
Yes, we were on it a couple of minutes ago. It's definitely here.
It's under settings.
When you're
It's
on the
under,
attendance tab.
Down to the bottom.
go to attendance or?
Yeah.
Go to
And
attendance.
it's settings on the left-hand side.
So go to attendance over here.
Okay, yes, that's it, Jen.
Oh, wait, I just clicked on it, right?
That's right, now settings.
Yeah.
It's-
Like the screen. Yeah, one more. Yeah,
That's it.
That's
okay, I
it.
would say you'd be on settings. This person have two things called settings.
Whew, thank you. Yes.
Now you can get the like notification stuff.
Yes. Yes, right here. Yes.
But that's really important, and I didn't know about it until not too long ago. But we have a lot of faculty who want to manage at this level.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make sure.
For anyone who's new here too, under where it says other, you can click that have it sent to early warning. Okay. If they're missing, many classes with another senior
Right.
semester.
Like right here. Yeah.
I don't. Good question.
I'm guessing it comes as JICS postmaster, and so then we don't get a lot, but we get a few students that try to reply to those messages.
Right.
And it does the right place.
Yes.
Yes. This is good. Thanks for bringing that up. That I don't get to this level and under attendance, because most of the institutions I'm working with these days, they don't require attendance in their courses at all. So this is good. This is actually good to note. The other thing I wanted to show you would be the drop-down menus. Yeah, so the excused and unexcused absence and tardy. And you can also specify under settings if and under that attendance link on Gradebook, you can say after 3 tardies, count 3 tardies as an absence. So you can even get down to that level if tardies really matter for you. All right, that's good. Any other thoughts? I will say, so if we go back to the gradebook, once the gradebook is set up, and you always will have this table with your final grade, when it's time to submit your grades, when that window opens on campus, which is, dictated by, I guess, the registrar's office, you will receive you'll see the submit button show up in your gradebook, where you can submit the grades through the gradebook. With grade entry, that's on the faculty tab, and you have grade entry. It'll always sit there as a place to submit your grades, but you'll notice that when you click on the class to submit your grades, even today, you should get a message that says, you're not able to submit grades at this time. So I just want to bring that up. There is no submit button at the moment because you're not in that window of time where grades are due. So that is Gradebook and grade entry. Any questions before? I'm about to land the plane, I think. I'm going to just show you, the last piece I wanted to show you was just how to copy your course, because that would be the very last thing you would do, right? So let's assume that we have built this amazing course with all of this great navigation going on the left, all kinds of great stuff. We're happy with our course. We go back, I'm going to go back to the main page, and we like this course. So one of the things I'll say is there's 2 reasons to copy your course. The first reason is that let's assume that McPherson does not have a course template, but you have seen this training and you've decided, you know what, I'm going to make my own course template. So you can get Andy to create a portal-only course for you, which is what we're using here. It's a course that's not connected to your ERP in any way. It's just a sandbox course. And you can create your own template, your own course template, and then copy that template into all of your future courses so that you can be building in the template that you built. Okay? That's one reason why you would copy course. The other reason is that after you've built the template and you start developing courses in that template, you can copy a past course into a future course. So it'll copy everything. And now with this new update, it'll even take your assignments over. I want to say they fixed that you don't have to go in and change the assignment dates, that it automatically grabs, it tries to mimic, your fall due dates with your spring due dates. So I would tell you still go in and look and make sure everything is looking correctly in terms of due dates, but I think that they've made it so that you don't have to do so much manipulation once you copy your course, relative to coursework assignments. So to copy course, if we like our course, what we would do is we would go here in our menu. So we were here earlier, add a page, course manager. Underneath that is copy course. And this literally walks you through how do you copy your course. And it's important that step one, where do you want to copy from? So what is it that you're copying? It's important to know where do you want to copy from and where do you want to copy to? It's a very, very important because if you get those mixed up, you're going to put the new course into your old course and delete everything in your old course. So make sure that you emphasize with your faculty copy from and copy to. So I would select a term, and my term is infinity. So you would basically, where do you want to copy from? You have to figure out where what term you're in, where the term that you would be in, the course is, oh my goodness, I'm getting tongue-tied. The term for the course that you want to copy from. So I'm going to pick the infinity term, select my courses. So these are all the courses in this particular term. Your term would be fall, 18, spring 19, that type of thing. And then I'm going to select a course. So I'm going to copy from my section 3. I don't want to delete the course that we're in, obviously. And then select one or more courses. So you can multi-copy into many courses at a time. That's why I was saying that if you build your template, you can copy that template into all of your courses, and then you can start adding the content afterward. So now I'm scrolling to find where do I want to copy to, and I've got to find LMS, HIJKL, should be up here. There it is, LMS, and I'm going to copy into section 3. I'm going to copy it into section 1. Okay, so I'm copying from and then copying to. And then in step 3, what do you want to copy? Do I want to copy everything in my course? Or do I just want some of the content from my course? And if I selected course content, I can tell the tool, I only want to copy these items. Okay? And it says coursework, gradebook, and attendance. This copies all of your coursework assignments as well as the configuration settings for your gradebook. Okay? I'm trying to figure out why it's gray. I don't know why it's grayed. I don't know why. But if you, so here again, you can copy everything or select it. What's that?
Oh, I was just asking, did you actually have coursework set up in section, you were copying section 3?
That's a good point. That's possible. In section 3, I might not have even added the course. I might not have any coursework in there. So yeah, I don't remember that. That could be it. That could very well be it. But here is something very important. You can merge or you can overwrite. if you want to absolutely copy everything, you want to then select overwrite, because if you merge, it's going to keep the original portlets in there and then add the copied portlets. So you're going to see bookmark 1, bookmark 2, literally the number 1, the number 2, because it's saying, okay, I'm going to keep your original bookmarks in there, but I'm going to add this copied bookmark over, and you're going to end up with multiple bookmark portlets in your course. Now, if you want to merge, if that's the way you want it, then merge. But most likely, you really just want to overwrite and copy over everything. Okay. And that's it. So then you're going to scroll down. How should we handle dates? This is the new update. This date copying setting will impact coursework, availability dates, handouts, etc. Do you want to use source dates, or do you want to roll them over to fit the destination term? So if you want the system to try to mimic your fall dates and to mimic those to spring, you want to roll them over to fit the destination term. Okay, but again, I would always go back and check to make sure that everything rolled over correctly. So then you would select copy, and oh, I haven't selected any content, so I need to come back up here, and I would just copy everything. And then go back down and copy. And yes, I'm going to copy, and I need to select the course. And this is the system saying, are you sure? Are you sure? Because once you do this, it's final. And then I hit continue. And I think these courses, my section 1 and section 3 are identical courses, so it's not going to look any different, actually. But this is what you see when the course is being copied. So you'll see the little spinning wheel, and then it's telling you you have successfully copied this course into this course. Okay?
Jen, in terms of trying to, copy a course and to, match the dates. I remember I forget the word that they used there, but we rarely have a term that's going to have the same number of days in it.
Yeah.
We might have, let's say, 42 class sessions in the fall and 40 class sessions in the spring. And so if somebody's trying to copy a course with 42 class sessions in it into a course with 40, is it just truncated at the end, or do you know?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if Carrie would know the answer to that. And ask that question again. I want to make sure I understand the question.
Well, so if you're copying a course that's been set up with 42 class sessions, 42
Right.
class meetings for the semester.
Right.
And you're trying to copy it into a course that's set up in a semester or term that has only 40 days in it.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume it would just truncate the last 2 days. It's just going to,
Right.
fill in 40 class sessions and leave the last 2 off, which still could leave a lot of manual labor left. I'm trying to think which is really less work.
Well, it's going to.
And some people do this. Some people do have something due every day.
Uh-huh.
I don't. I have stuff due at the end of the week. So as long as the week numbers stay the same, I'm okay. But for those faculty who have something due every day, yeah, that would be a problem because their coursework is. But it hasn't affected mine, and so I guess that you'd have to ask someone who doesn't have something due every day.
I think what would happen, and I'm thinking through times when I've seen something similar, that let's say you're putting a 42-week course into a 40-week course, you're copying over everything. The system is going to put the first 40 weeks in as best as it can based on, by rolling it over into the next term. But like for coursework assignments where now the new course is literally missing 2 weeks, it'll take those coursework assignments, and I believe they just drop it down as as ungrouped ungrouped section in coursework. So the assignments are going to be there, but they're not going to be assigned to a unit, or they're not going to have any due dates or anything like that, or it'll have a default due date, which is like the last day of class, and the professor would just click the edit tool and then select the unit that they want it to go into, or delete the assignment altogether. You know, I believe that's how it happens. So in the case of our course, you know, we would have week 1, week 2, week 3, et cetera, et cetera. Let's say it's a 17-week course and we copied it into a 15-week template. It's going to put anything that was in those last 2 weeks in this ungrouped section, whether it's handouts or bookmarks or coursework. So if it can't find dates to put those coursework assignments in, you're going to see a bar at the bottom of the coursework page, and all of those, you know, lost assignments, if you will, are going to be listed under that heading, and I think it's called ungrouped or unidentified. I think it's ungrouped.
At this point, do you suggest us waiting to build in the new system before copying, or can we copy from what we've already had?
That's a good question. We actually, Andy and I took a peek at some of your classes. I wanted to see just to see who, you know, the extent to which you all were using the learning management system. And Carrie, I think we pulled up one of your courses, and it looks like it was a course prior to this update. But it looked to me, and Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember, even that old course took on the characteristics of this new interface.
Yeah, I've actually already copied to fall. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah, because
some do. There
yeah.
are others that don't.
Mine's very basic at this point, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
Ann Zerger was unhappy with what hers was like,
Yeah.
but I don't know how she set it up. I think they fixed the problem. Okay. Yeah, but she needed to edit it. But I don't know how she set it up, so it's hard for me to say what the issue was.
So I really only use the assignment files, so I just didn't know if it would mess it up if I already copied from like fall or spring.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you better start it.
All right. Are there other questions?
Jen, I don't see any.
Okay.
If we come up with some after the fact, I will be sure and email you.
Okay.
Just have one. I have one question, which really just will the video be in a format that I can edit it? Because I'm thinking about using